Hi, I'm Jen Hurd, and welcome to the Thrive Through Life Change event, where we're going to learn how to regain powerful energy, create an inspiring vision, and a balanced life, while all of this chaos is going out around the world around us. So I'm a professional organizer, and I have been for over 30 years, and I decided to create this event because over the years, I've worked one-on-one with client after client, going through major life changes, and some would transition to the next phase really well, and others really would not. So these experiences, combined with some own personal challenges of my own, led me to determine that I was going to pull together experts from all over the world who could really show that no major life change can't be overcome. And these experts are going to discuss how they've overcome their own challenges, as well as grown and thrived, and how we all can too. So without any further ado, I'll introduce Eileen McDargh. She is a fascinating and very busy lady who's the Chief Energy Officer, which I love that title, of the Resiliency Group. And the business was started in 1980, and it's been around a while to help. I love this also, the way this is phrased, helping organizations and individuals transform the life of their business and the business of their life through conversations that matter and connections that count. So she's also a facilitator, a keynote speaker, executive coach, and she's written 6 books, and her 7th book, which is Burnout to Breakthrough, Building Resilience to Refuel, Recharge, and Reclaim What Matters, is coming out just as we also launch our event. So our timing is amazing. We're within a couple days of each other. Yay. So welcome, Eileen. Thanks for coming today.
It's great. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So very exciting next couple of weeks for you. Your book is going to be launching. Tell everyone a little bit about how this came to be, how this book was designed.
Well, this is my 7th book. And as you've seen, I've been in business for a long time. I became fascinated with the notion of resilience really when 9/11 hit the States. Mm-hmm. And so that was 19 years ago. Mm-hmm. So for 19 years, I have studied, written, and spoken about resilience in all of its forms, which is dealing with change, which is not just talking about when things are tough, but what happens when things are really good. Because at the end of the day, resilience is all about energy management. Do I have the energy, the emotional, mental, physical capacity to keep on keeping on?
Right.
So in that context, for the last, I would say 2.5, 3 years, every time I go to speak to a group, and it was resilience, but the context was burnout. And last March, I keynoted a conference for 5,000 pharmacists. And here was what they wanted: overcoming burnout through resilience. Yeah. And I have to tell you, when 5,000 pharmacists stand and applaud, it's not about me. It's the fact that it isn't. It's the fact that this is something they needed to hear. Yeah. And literally 2 months later, the World Health Organization declared burnout, finally put its classification of occupational hazards globally. The numbers are huge. And I thought, you know what? I need to write this book. I need to bring some of this stuff together. So that's where the book was born. Signed the contract in August of last year.
Oh, wow.
Put in the final manuscript was due December, and it's launching, as you said, August 4th, depending on when this plays. We might be on launch day or the day after.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, so as part of that book then, I read an excerpt from it because when you sign up for your list, you can get a preview of it, which is really exciting, and it's wonderfully designed to go through looking at your burnout and break it down and then kind of put yourself back together, and I love that. So as someone's trying to put themselves back together and build a more resilient life, or even to plan for and prevent burnout, obviously, because that's a huge thing now with working from home, and there's a lot of stressors there. What are some key ways that our audience can work on their building a resilient life?
Okay, so first off, thank you for using the word building, ing, which means it is an active verb. This is not something that in one day you're going to go, oh, I'm resilient.
Here I am.
Because I think resilience is a life skill. Mm-hmm. And some days we're going to be better at it than others. Mm-hmm. So if we frame it with this word burnout, which, by the way, since the time I turned in that manuscript, 2 months later, we were in a pandemic.
Right.
The world drastically changed.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was causing burnout back then has
Mm-hmm.
now exponentially changed.
Oh, yeah.
People are working from home as they're trying to deal with, I don't have an office. Oh my God, I got kids running everywhere. And we're finding people are working even harder
Oh,
because
yeah.
they're at home. The irony is one of their solutions before this was just let me have a day at home. Let me work at home. That was perceived as being a privilege.
Great.
But now it's managing that. We have the isolation because as human beings, by the way, it's not social distancing. That is the wrong word. It's
Right.
physical distancing. What we want is social connection, which is why
Yeah, we
retreating
do.
again is really important. That at least I get to look in your eyes and you get to look at me and you see my office, you see part of my house. That we
Yeah.
begin to come together in these ways. So to answer your question,
Yeah.
besides the fact that I'd love for them to get the book, first off, figure
Yes.
out what you can do. Where are your points of control personally?
Mm-hmm.
When I say points of control, we need to say, what is it that triggers me into this place of exhaustion, irritability, lack of productivity? I don't care about anything anymore. I don't eat well. I don't sleep well. Actually, we probably eat too well because someone told me it's not a pandemic, it's a pound-demic.
Pandemic. Yeah, I know, right?
So,
True.
so first off, figure out where is your point of control, and we all have it.
Yeah.
And that the first step is to say, what are my different options? And by the way, we always have more than two options. There are always more than two.
Oh, yeah.
We might not like some of those others, and you might need to talk to a colleague, to your best beloved, call up your nearest and dearest and say, help me think of other ways to respond.
Yeah.
So that you can figure out what's one way where I choose. Notice the word I'm saying.
Yes.
I choose to do this.
Right.
See, when we say the word choose, now
Yeah.
I'm in control,
Mm-hmm.
not you.
Well, and you use the word respond instead of react as well. So responding is a choice. So I think that's a critical distinction to make is
Thank
you
you.
need to think it through.
And see, actually, in the work that you do, because we say, where can I get in control?
Yeah.
When 9/11 hit and everything stopped.
Yeah.
So I could, no clients. They didn't want me to fly. I kept saying, you need me. Nope, can't go. I thought, where can I get in control? And there were two things, Jen.
Yeah.
And they all had to do with physicality. One was to go to the gym and I got a trainer. But
Nice.
at least I can take care of my body and I can see results.
Yeah.
The thing was I hired a professional organizer.
Oh, yeah.
Because I realized that one of the ways my time was going that can make you feel burned out is you can't find things. You're surrounded by clutter. What happened to the file? Being able to feel that I can see some kind of progress allows me to feel, okay, I have some control there. So things with our physical environment as well as our physical body are ways to allow us to begin to feel that we're leading life rather than life leading us.
Right. Oh, and that's so true. I mean, from an organizer's standpoint, the two are so entwined, people's home environments and then their mental environments. If they're having a chaotic mental and emotional time, their physical environment will fall apart. Yep. And that's where we get called in a lot, is when it's in that state. So, and some of them are chronically in that state because they're not making sense of things and they're not making systemic change. They're just making a Band-Aid change for the week and then they call us back again and again. But I think, the key is to figure out a way to create a system that simplifies things for yourself, because that really does, it gets you time back. Like you said, you spend a lot of time looking for things. We lose a lot of time in our lives hunting for things that we could make homes for and that sort of thing. So getting that physical environment aligned as you're doing this work on your plan is huge. They do really go hand in hand, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I love your website for many reasons, because it's very uplifting and your videos are amazing, and but also in the sense of humor that you have is great. But you have a quote on there: "Stop whining and start winning." And I really like that philosophy. Tell me a little bit more about how you can whip people into shape on that point.
Now, I come up with sayings that I need. So the books that I write, It's because
Yeah.
I need to know this.
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
don't write them first to be published. I write them first because I need to understand this. And then in the
Mm-hmm.
writing, it clarifies for me.
For
So
sure.
stop whining and start winning. I can get to the place where I go, oh, no, why, and get in a place of negativity, which, by the way, is going to drain your energy. It's going to
Oh,
bring you
so
down.
much. Yeah.
And so my husband will call me on that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is something I have to really work on.
Yeah.
And so when we whine, well, you can have, allow yourself 60 seconds. Okay, 2 minutes max. But then
Right.
now
Right.
what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
what are you going to do about it? So when I begin to do something about it, then I put myself on a winning track rather than a losing track.
Right.
Let me tell you another one of the things that I came up with, and you can quote me on this, is action is the antidote for anxiety.
Yes.
So when I begin to feel anxious,
Mm-hmm.
I need to put something in motion.
Yes.
When I begin to put something in motion, again,
Mm-hmm.
like getting my office fixed, like going to the gym, I discovered I had something in common with Sandra Bullock.
Oh,
Sadly,
yeah.
it's not looks, but when she gets stressed,
Uh-huh.
she irons.
Oh, really?
Think about you ironing. Maybe I don't even know what an iron is anymore. I do own an iron. I like to iron because when I iron, there is the pillowcases. I can fold them. They're creased. I have control. I can put them in my linen closet. It's allowing me to, it's so methodical.
Yeah.
Sit there and iron. So action is the antidote for anxiety. So if you are beginning to feel stressed, what action can you do? And by the way, the action might be to go to sleep.
It might be.
It might really be to go to sleep.
Sleep is a wonderful thing. I will tell you, just for your cortisol level alone, those studies that they're showing now, as you get more and more rest, you can lose weight just by sleeping because you reduce all those hormones that are stress hormones that are causing you to overeat and your blood sugar to do what it's doing and whatnot. So sleep can be an amazing and very beneficial thing to try.
It's true.
Yeah. Not in a depressive way. Some people get depressed and they just want to sleep. That's different than literally planning and responding to a situation with rest.
Well, and here's the other thing. If you're going to sleep, don't look at your cell phone before you go to sleep.
No.
And don't look at the television. Don't turn on the news because your brain is going to keep going. Yeah. And put that, unless you have, like when I was caring for my aging mother, my cell phone was my constant companion.
Right.
But the only people who could call in because you can set your smartphone to do this, were the people related to mom, or my brothers or my sisters. After that, the calls don't come through until 7 o'clock. I think it was 7 or 6 in the morning, something like that.
Yeah.
Control your input so that your output will allow you to sleep better.
Sure. And I found that too, if I left my emails and checked them at the end of the day, which frequently would happen because I would be on site working at clients, and I would go to look at that as I'm going to bed, then my mind's like, oh man, they just gave me 2,000 other tasks I have to complete, right? So that was definitely not the time of day to do that. So you really do have to look at, to prevent burnout, the time of day at which you're scheduling those sorts of things that will drive tasks. Because
that's true. And we also need to know what's our body clock. Now, thankfully, my husband and I have the same body clock. We are early morning people.
You're larks. I like the lark and the owl analogy, you know.
You know what?
I'm an owl.
I don't think we'd be married 40 years if we weren't on the same body clock. But then structure the things that you have to do that require the most energy when you are at your prime. Now, that's not to say we can't get, I mean, if I had to do, like somebody just said, I'm going to talk to someone where was it? I don't know if it was in the UK or China or whatever. So I'm going to have to do this at 8 o'clock at night. Normally I'm asleep. I can get myself up for that. Yeah. But that's an aberration. That's not what I would normally do. Yeah. So figure out when is your, and when is your time. If your brain starts to go south at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then only do the little pitty kind of stuff. Take your kids to the playground, or learn how to bake brownies. I don't know.
Everyone has their dips. Like, where your dips are.
Yeah, I do.
Like mine is always between 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If I'm going to have a dip, that's where it's going to be. If I didn't get adequate rest the night before. Oh no, I'm good today.
But see, you can get up for this because you know you need to, because right
Oh,
now it's what is it? It's 4:30 there, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's post dip now. I'm I'm on an upswing at this point in the day. But yeah, I mean, Leonardo da Vinci was the one who used to do that with his philosophy with his art. He would only paint when he was on his optimal times, and he slept at, a few hours here and a few hours there, but that was how his clock was. And
Yes.
he would work according to his timing, whatever he knew his timing to be. And I think that's important for creativity. I think especially people who need that in their business, that rest and watching, your cycles of your day are really important. Not just productivity, but creativity too.
Right. Right.
Definitely. So there's some other, let's see, there's a lot of changes in life. This is what I wanted to get to that can really drain us almost to exhaustion, right? So, and a big focus of this event is regaining your personal energy, getting that energy back. And like, you said in the beginning, like energy management. So I wanted to go through, like, maybe just, you talk about, stop, look, and listen, see what's really draining you, where your energy is going to. Let's talk a little bit about that. How can people be more observant about their energy management?
All right, I'm gonna use a tip that perhaps you use when you ask people how they want to organize their life, their closet, whatever.
Maybe.
And I say, what you do is you create a CAT scan. And CAT is my acronym that stands for C, check what claims your time.
Mm-hmm.
A, assess how and why, and is it of value? And the T is to take action. And action can be, what can I accept? What can I avoid? What can I amend? And so for the space, you might not even have to do it for 7 days. Grab yourself, a piece of paper or a journal, whatever. And at the start of the day, you make what basically are 3 columns. In the top, you put what, time, and who. So let's say, like today, I was trying to get to the gym. So today I got up at 4 o'clock. What did I do? I had 20 minutes of meditation, was home, went to the gym. Gym was closed. They closed down California today. So back home again. And so what happens is when I change activities, I begin to get a pattern of what my life looks like.
Right.
And almost everything that we do, Jen, comes in 15-minute increments. So it can be 0.25, that's 15 minutes. 1.25, that's an hour and 15 minutes. Answering the phone, going grocery shopping, whatever it is. And at the end of 7 days, and I will guarantee you're not even going to need full 7 days. Take those sheets of paper, spread them out on the dining room table, on the kitchen counter, back behind you on your desk, and say, okay, why am I doing that? Why am I doing that? Why am I doing it that way? And begin to circle those things that you and only you could, should, and want to do. And you're going to begin to see patterns in your life. And those patterns are going to tell you the things that you need to say, bye-bye, adios. And it's not adios, hasta luego. It's plain old adios. Adios, yeah. And I got to tell you, if you just do this twice, when you start to feel like you are, just becoming a crispy critter, you will see these patterns. You'll also find, and this is a conversation for another time, but we also see where organizations create the flames and burnout by what they are asking. But that means that speaking truth to power. That I realize every time you call me to a meeting, one of these Zoom meetings, I sit there, I contribute nothing because I do not need to be in that meeting. Right. And so I need to say, excuse me, Mr. and Ms. Boss, there's something more productive I can do with my time that I think will assist the organization better than what you're doing. I found patterns. Let me tell you two big things. One was I realized my office had to be organized because I didn't realize how much time I was wasting trying to find things that I needed. Number two, I had no idea how much time I was spending volunteering on the national board for a national organization. And when I thought about where am I at this point in time of my life, is this my choice? I thought, it's not. Yeah. So I resigned. Yeah. But I would never have known how much time that was taking. until I did kind of this time log.
Stepped
The
through and logged it. Yeah.
number was the amount of time I was spending taking care of a widow in our neighborhood. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to abandon the widow, but I
No.
realized I was feeling guilty. Women do that a lot. We do things because we feel guilty. Well, if I don't, who will? And I was doing it at the expense of my family.
Yeah.
I'm not going to abandon her.
Right.
But I became very cognizant that I was making some choices that were not the smartest choice. And she was one of these negative people that you left her house going, oh.
Right. Yeah.
So there are people in our lives too that we have to kind of draw the line with and say, I love you and we'll see each other at Christmas.
Yeah, right.
You get the
Yeah,
idea.
those can be a big drain. But too, I've seen a lot, the advent of the internet is a wonderful thing. Like when you have a neighbor like that, where you feel obligated and maybe you're spending too much time, like you said, is it something I have to do? Or could I set up a meal train? There's websites now where, if there's somebody sick in your neighborhood, you can put it out to the whole neighborhood and have everybody volunteer to bring meals one day each, but it spreads out the wealth, right? But you've helped and you've made sure that they're taken care of, but you're not having to do it every single day.
That's a great example of adaptability. That's a great example of saying there's more than one way to solve this. Now, unfortunately, this was probably 10, 11 years ago. She was not cuter. This is not something we could have done. But I want to come back and acknowledge that what you did right now was to say, in how many different ways, what is my requisite variety? Can I look at this event and can I come up with other potentials? And it was more than two things. So you were starting to come up with a bunch.
Oh yeah, sure.
What I could do so that it's not my time, but we as a neighborhood support this woman.
Yeah, I do. I find to do that a lot as I'm working with clients too, because they'll be completely overextended in their time. I read a great book years ago. It's called Mitten Strings for God. I'm trying to think of the name of the author, but I loved the book. And it was more angled toward children and not overprogramming your children, but the rules still apply because we shouldn't overprogram ourselves either. And any of those monkeys you have on your back, there is a way to pass the monkey to someone else, at a certain point and put it on their back and have them keep it. And so I think there's ways to divest ourselves gently of things like that in a responsive way, a responsible way. And make it so that, if it still needs to happen, it's happening, but just not at our expense, rather at our, our behest, or, we're able to help. I love that. And I like that aspect of speaking the truth. You mentioned that. I really think that really helps us to recover from a situation when we can look at it and see it for what it is. And speak the truth to, like you said, to say to the other person, I'll see you soon, just maybe not all the time. You know what I mean? Like, correct. You can, without saying it in so many words.
Well, one of the things we're seeing now with the remote workforces is that actually, if it is managed well, employees become more engaged. And what it is that we begin, you think about this, particularly if you're in a large organization, you don't even see the other person. They're over there at their desk. You'll send an email before you go over and look at them.
Right.
But now what happens is when we come together in this virtual environment, it gives us the opportunity to be transparent. It gives us the opportunity to see each other's surroundings. And so to manage a remote workforce well, has to do with how is it that we show up as full people? How is it that we are willing to speak our truths? Because what now is happening, we're seeing stuff that you brought home to do, and all of a sudden you realize, well, this is really stupid. Why are we doing this way? And let's get rid of that. I mean, nothing is less productive than to make more productive what shouldn't be done at all.
Right? So true. I just was watching Stephen Covey Jr. did a talk a week or so ago about the new book he's got coming out about trust. And he was talking about that in the workforce too, how to build trust, how to build teams, how to get people to assert themselves to other people, to open the door for them, to trust them with projects and responsibilities so that those things can be shared and managed well. And it was really fascinating, but that being able to be truthful about what your capacity is was huge. what other responsibilities you may currently have so that you can make those decisions. I think all of that is so important. And, you know, it's a whole new world for people right now having to adjust to that. But I think the people that are such as yourself and, you know, coming out with these ways to take a look at our lives a little bit more circumspect and figure out what we can do to incrementally improve and manage ourselves better as things are changing quickly. It's going to benefit so many lives.
Well, I can't help but think that even with all of this convergence, that is just, I mean, we've never been in this place before, ever.
No.
But that also says that I think what has happened, particularly with technology, with the speed of change, that we've just thrown step on, hurry, you know, without stopping and saying, why am I doing this? It's called the Why Institute. I was just involved with them.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll probably be certified to do this. And their philosophy is you say why, how, and what. So why am I here?
Yeah.
What is it? And each one of us, there's like 9 different whys that one of us could, I have one.
Yeah. Keep peeling the onion back. Then why? But why?
Why? And then how is I'm showing up with that? And what is it that I do?
Yeah.
Most of the time we think about what I do. But the reason is why. When I become really clear about that why, that also is what gives me energy.
Yeah, it does. I find the clearer I've been on my vision in my life, just from personal experience, it's propelling. It moves you right into the next step because you're like, okay, well, if this is really what I want to accomplish, then this is the direction I need to go. It just points you right. It's like the North Star, right? You have that thing to direct towards, so you know where you're going. It is. It's very, very motivating. Plus,
well, what it is you're speaking truth to power.
You are. Yeah, you're articulating it then to people, and once you articulate it, it builds commitment, which then it kind of spirals on itself in a good way. So so this is what's something that I really want our audience to understand too, is that getting that vision straight, getting that ultimate goal straight, or that sort of reason for being, is extremely motivating and important. And if you can't get to it yourself, obviously seek out your organization, right? I mean, here you go. The perfect resource for personally or even in a business situation. If the business isn't sure what its goals are, talk to a manager and say, we're not really being led here. Like, what can we do? Let's ask some questions. Can we get someone in to help us work on this? And I would imagine that would propel you tremendously.
And it isn't goal, because what happens oftentimes, goal becomes data, statistics, how many, quantity, time, instead of saying, why are we in business? What is it that calls us to do this?
Yeah.
Because it's not to sell XYZ. If you were in a medical device company, your goal is not to sell XYZ of the medical device. Your goal is to contribute to the well-being and care of, let's pretend, it's senior patients who are not ambulatory. We do that because we fit them with the absolute best prosthetic device. And I don't know. I'm making
But if you get your team behind that is the humanity of it. And that's where people
actually
say,
right.
Yeah, you bring it back to that, and it's not some esoteric thing. It's actually, here are people we're helping. This is what this is. And I used to work in advertising when I first came out of school, and when I was in grad school, I worked for like major car lines and whatnot. But we would always write the advertising to one individual. We would create a person, and that's who that advertisement would be written toward. And I think even in business, that's important. Like, who's the human that it's helping? What is it doing for them? You personify that, and you go a long way.
True.
Well, this is awesome. I really appreciate this conversation. It's been so great. And I'm really excited for your book to come out, because I've already read a couple of the first juicy chapters, and I now I want to read the whole thing. So below this video, there will be a link to Eileen's website, and that will have more information about how to access her book, her prior book, as well as with the launch here, upcoming information about her new book. So please, click the link and check that out, and make sure that if you need to reach her, you can reach her through her website. It's a great website, extremely well done, as I mentioned, and so you can definitely access her many, many ways there. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and please continue to tune in because we have 21 days of this event. We have some amazing speakers who have incredible ideas about how to improve your life in terms of your success and your energy level and your new vision as you're moving through these changes. So we'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, and thanks for watching.
Thanks, Jen.